What's going on, guys? This is Kaishro. Welcome back. So for our video today, we're going to cover top 5 tech cards of September 2023 OCG metagame format. So before we eclipse towards the October ban list that will happen very soon on the later stage of September, we're going to cover what are the top 5 best cards that you can use to topple and surprise your meta-relevant opponents on this current format. These are the top 5 tech cards that you may use to answer the meta decks on the format and give the surprise factor against them. So without further ado, let's start. Coming at number 5, we have Forbidden Lands. So Forbidden Lands is used to protect your monsters that sets up something like negation type of monsters like Boral Savage. On the current format, we have decks like Rescue that goes into the synchro line of play, going into something like Savage and other synchro monsters like Dragster and Arclight, and also decks like Sword Soul and Dragon Link that sets up negation type of monsters on their side of the field can be easily protected by Forbidden Lands. Even though your monster loses a marginable 800 attack points, I think it is worth noting that this card can really clutch the game state for you if you are trying to play around something like Lightning Storm that can wipe your board, and also the very prevalent Infinite Impermanence that is mostly used on the main deck of many people right now. So you have Forbidden Lands to protect your monsters that can negate on your disposal. So yeah, I think this is a very nice card and a very cliche card to protect your negation type of monsters on this current metagame. And you can use the negation of monsters of yours to topple and negate the important engine line of play of your opponent. So at number 5, we have Forbidden Lands. Moving towards the number 4, we have Book of Lunar Eclipse. So this card is specifically used to answer the Centurion. So you use Book of Lunar Eclipse to flip face down the monsters of Centurion that will go into the line of play into Calamity. So you need to respect the Centurion right now, a very prevalent deck right now that is introduced by Deck Build Valiant Smashers. So this deck is very prominent right now in the format because this deck has a very legitimate win con or win condition that can consistently and persistently summon the Calamity on their side of the field. If you don't respect the Centurion, you will kinda automatically lose when they can successfully summon the Calamity on their side of the field. So Lunar Eclipse helps you to mitigate those problems. So you can use the Lunar Eclipse to flip face down the monsters of Centurion before they go into synchro summoning. So this card is kinda low here on this tier list of top 5 deck cards because of the discard mechanic of this card. Most decks right now cannot afford to lose a single card on their hand. So yeah, it's very situational and kinda neggy if you don't really have the resources to discard on your deck. So yeah, it ranks only number 4 on this list, but it is very adept on answering the Centurion right now and a very good card as well. So at number 4, we have Book of Lunar Eclipse. Moving towards the number 3, we have the Herald of the Abyss. So Herald of the Abyss is particularly here just to answer the Purely, of course, because Purely is still one of the best decks right now on the format, and Purely is one of the most successful decks that we have on the current OCG metagame. This deck won the Japan Championship Tournament this 2023 and also won the Duelist Cup main event. So Purely is one of the decks that many titled and many prominent players are successful on playing right now on the format. So you have to have answers on dealing against Purely. So that's why Herald of the Abyss is here to out the Expurlinor, because Expurlinor is a very problematic card if you cannot out it. It's unaffected by card effects and can spin cards up to 3 times or 4 times sometimes on a single turn. So it is a very devastating interruption card and a very powerful tower right now. So Herald of the Abyss helps you to ease out your problem around Purely. And also Herald of the Abyss are paired with Triple Tactics Trust or Trust on the format, so that you can search your Trust, rather your Herald of the Abyss, using the Trust if your opponent uses a card effect on their turn. So yeah, I think this is a very good card to answer the Purely right now. and most of the time purely doesn't have the resources or play around to mitigate the damage of the Herald of the Abyss around them. So yeah, at number 3 we have Herald of the Abyss. Moving towards the number 2, we have the Typhoon. So Typhoon is one of the cards that I am really hyped about on playing right now. I think Typhoon is one of the best tech cards that you can play on the format. It's not only an answer to Centurion, which is used to specifically counter the Centurion with this rising popularity of Typhoon. It is used to out the continuous traps of the Centurion, so that you can out the continuous traps of Centurion, pseudo continuous traps, because those are monsters before. So yeah, you use Typhoon to out those monsters, because usually they end up on two continuous trap monsters on their side of the field. So you use Typhoon to out those monsters so that they cannot procure their place going into Calamity, and they will be left with no resources. And also, most players prefer to play Typhoon over something like Cosmic Cyclone, which is a very staple card for most of the time. They prefer to play Typhoon because not only it answers the problematic line of play into Calamity of Centurion, it also answers the rising popularity of the Pendulum decks. The Pendulum Magician, which is very popular right now on the format. This is a very successful deck right now. So Typhoon also can out the Pendulum skills of these decks. And also, we are going to have the Kirin support, the Magic Spectre support on the following sets. So, who knows where Typhoon might be on the following formats, no? I think if Pendulums and Centurion are continuing to rise in popularity, I think Typhoon will is a very good card and will be in a good spot on the following formats. And also, Typhoon can also answer the continuous spell of Horus, which is one of the most prevalent decks right now and engine on the format. Horus as well, very strong deck right now on the format. And also, Runic and Labyrinth, those back row type of decks that relies on floodgates and powerful trap cards on their disposal. Typhoon also can answer that. So there's infinite possibilities of using Typhoon on this format. That's why I really like Typhoon on this format, because it is very versatile. It can answer a lot of the meta decks on the format, and quite budget one as well right now. So at number 2, we have Typhoon. Moving towards the number 1, we have Super Poly. So Super Poly is used to answer the Centurion. So this is number 1 on my list because you don't really have counterplays around Super Poly that much, because Super Poly is Super Poly. You cannot respond to Super Poly most of the time. So yeah, it is used to answer the Centurion, because Centurion does have an instance where they can have Legacia on their field with the Primera. So those are light attributes but different types. So you can use the monsters of Centurion as a targets for Super Poly, going to something like Madragon Fusion, so that you can prevent them from going into Calamity, of course, because that's the most important thing right now in the format. Prevent the Centurion into going something like Calamity. So yeah, Super Poly is very clutch on dealing with Centurion. And also, decks like Tearlaments also does struggle around the Super Poly, because they are mostly consisted of dark monsters, so that they are very prone with Starving Venom. And also, we do have Unchained on the format. This is a very crazy deck right now on the TCG format. So I think most of the OCG people followed the TCG contents. That's why they began again to play Unchained. So this is a very solid rogue. But for me, it is a tier 3 meta deck, considering the fact that this is very popular right now. So yeah, you can use also Super Poly, because most of the Unchained monsters are dark monsters, and also they end up on dark monsters as well. So they are also prone to Super Poly with the Starving Venom. So yeah, at number 1 we have Super Poly. So short recap. At number 5 we have Forbidden Lands. At number 4 we have both Lunar Eclipse. At number 3 we have Herald of the Abyss. At number 2 we have Typhoon. And at number 1 we have Super Poly. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you do learn something on this video. If you're not yet subscribed on my YouTube channel, hit the subscription button so that I can gain more followers. And also, thank you for watching this video. And hit the notification bell if you want to get more updated on my future contents. So, see you on the next one. Peace.